Ladies and gentlemen, and Pokemon fans of the world, Crasher chases back, and you already know what's going down. We have another Pokemon X and Y analysis video featuring Aegislash. And before I get into it any further, I just gotta say that this is probably one of the most overused Pokemon, if not the overused Pokemon of the of 6 generations so far. I mean, in 95% of all Wi-Fi battles that I have seen players use Aegislash, and that right there is a testament as to how good it is. But it's not invincible. But not knocking this opponent or Pokemon because it's one of my favorites. So with that all said and done, I'm going to go over things like its typing, abilities, and stats. So with Aegislash here, it sports the very awesome type combination of Steel and Ghost, and it is the first of its kind, granting you 3 immunities and so many resistances, and you're only damaged normally by water and electric type moves, while you are weak to ground, fire, ghost, and dark. But have no fear because everything else you either resist or you're immune to, which is absolutely incredible. Now, as for its ability, it gets stance change, and how this works is this Pokemon learns a very unique move called King's Shield, and when you switch into battle, you're always going to start out in shield form, but when you go to use an attacking move, you go into blade form, um, and you basically change your stance, and your stats get swapped around, and you're just ready to roll. And when you use King's Shield, you end up switching back into your more defensive form. And also with King's Shield, it's like Protect, except if your opponent makes contact with you, they lose 2 stages of their attack, which is absolutely incredible. Now, as for its stats, because it has two forms, its stats are different. Uh, it has 60 HP, 50 attack, 150 defense, 50 special attack, 150 special defense, and 60 speed. That's in its shield form. So, right off the bat, like, even if you make no investment in its defenses, you're going to have over 330 in each of your defenses, giving you ample opportunity to set up with the Swords Dance. And as soon as you switch into Blade form, your defenses and offenses get completely switched around, making you just such a powerful Pokemon. And speaking of switched around, that's exactly what happens in the Blade form. Um, its HP is 60, its attack is 150, defense is 50, special attack is 150, special defense is 50, and speed is 60. So as you're seeing here, the offensive stats and the defensive stats are switched around when you go into Blade form, and they get switched around when you go into Shield form. Shield being the more defensive form, while Blade being the more offensive form. The only thing that's consistent, though, is its HP and its speed, both being at 60, which isn't that good on paper, but you want to add on to the fact that it has a superb move pool and has defenses like a beast when it's in shield form, then I'd say that this is a really, really good Pokemon. So with that, it's time to go to its first set. With this first set here, it's kind of going to be like a 2-for-1 deal. This is going to be kind of like two set ideas in one. The first set idea goes like this. The nature we're going to be using is Adamant to lower its special attack and increase its physical attack. And the ability, once again, is going to be Stance Change, for it's the only ability it has. The item for choice is going to be Leftovers to increase HP at the end of each turn, thus increasing your chance of survivability. The EV spread goes like this. 252 are going into HP, 252 into attack, and 4 into speed, just to give you that one more speed point. And also, if you are up against other Aegislash that run a set like this, but they decide to invest in something like defense or special defense, you will always have that 1 point in speed, so you'll always be outspeeding them. Now, as for the move set, King's Shield is pretty much a must on a set like this, since it's going to be much slower. You're gonna almost want to go into King's Shield after you set up or after you attack. And you're almost always going to move last when you attack, so you won't be as vulnerable as opposed to if you were to move first. You will be in blade form, and thus that would open up yourself to being easily revenge killed. So King's Shield's a good thing to have. The next move we have is Swords Dance, and this increases your physical attack by 2 stages, and after one Swords Dance with an Adamant Nature, max attack, it's going to be hitting, it's going to be getting over 800 attack points. So, next to nothing is going to survive it unless they resist it. And the next move we have is Shadow Claw, which is a very solid ghost type move that Aegislash learns, and is very fortunate to do so. And the next move is Sacred Sword, which is a very, very rare fighting type move that's powerful. And the last time that you would ever see any Pokemon with a Sacred Sword would be on the Musketeer trio back in 5th gen. So this is what makes Aegislash very special. Now, moves to consider. We have Iron Head. If you want to opt out something like Sacred Sword and throw in Iron Head for fairy types, then you can. Or if you want to even opt out Swords Dance and just be sort of like an attacking set with King Shield attack, King Shield attack, King Shield attack, something like that. However, you are going to be hurting from the lack of boost. And the other move to consider is known as Shadow Sneak, which is a cool move that Aegislash gets, and it's basically a priority ghost type version of Quick Attack. So if you are fearing of being revenge killed or something like that, uh, then you can go with Shadow Sneak. But this move set here is my preference. I prefer Shadow Claw because you will have a high chance of moving last, and you will be in shield form, which means that you'll be better protected. Now, the alternative set that I have for you, the nature we're going to be using is Adamant or Jolly. The ability, once again, is going to be Stance Change, and the item for choice, either Leftovers or Life Orb. And as for the EV spread, 4 are going to go into HP, 252 into attack, and 252 into speed. Now, the move set I have here, once again, we have King's Shield to protect you from attacks. However, I will note that you are not protected from statuses or from being taunted, so please keep that in mind. The next move that we have is known as Autotomize, which is the Steel-type version of Agility, which increases your speed by 2 stages. So this can actually prove to be quite the fearsome set right here. And then we have Shadow Claw and Sacred Sword for flawless coverage. Now, moves to consider. I threw in Swords Dance there, and if you want to run kind of like a double dance set, kind of like how Terrakion did back in 5th generation with Rock Polish and Swords Dance, if you want to run Swords Dance and Autotomize, then you can go right ahead. While you're in shield form, you're going to have a pretty decent opportunity to set up without taking too much damage. And the next move is known as Iron Head, and if you want to use that over King's Shield and go Autotomize and then just full-on attack with the Life Orb, then you can do so there. So that's it for this section here. I'm going to move on to a more defensive approach for Aegislash. So with this next set here is going to be taking full advantage of Aegislash's defensive and walling capabilities. The nature we're going to be giving it is Impish to increase its physical defense and lower its special attack. The ability, once again, is Stance Change, for it's the only ability it has. Leftovers being the item for choice. EV Spread, 252 are going into HP, 252 into defense, and 4 into speed, just to give you that one more speed point to outpace other uninvested Aegislash. As for the moveset, we have King's Shield and Toxic, and this is kind of like a Toxic Protect Stall combo in the form of King's Shield. And with King's Shield's added effect of lowering your opponent's physical attack by 2 stages, you're going to be so much harder to take down on the physical side. Like, they're going to be so frustrated and possibly even rage quit. And Toxic deals with residual damage at the end of each turn, which is awesome. And with Shadow Claw and Sacred Sword are its two best coverage moves. And when your opponent is whittled down, then you can finish them off with Shadow Claw or Sacred Sword. Um, some moves to consider: we have Shadow Sneak, and if you want to use that over Shadow Claw, you can. But at the same time, for me, um, Aegislash's best defense is going last. That way, it will be in Shield's form even after your opponent attacks you, and you'll be taking less damage. And then you go into attack form and you finish them off. And in your attack form, uninvested, you have over 330 physical attack. Like, that is incredible for it being uninvested. The next move to consider is Ironhead, and again, it's for the likes of fairy types that are very pesky and very annoying. And the last move to consider, we have Substitute, and why I threw in Substitute is because, again, with King Shield's added effect of lowering your opponent's physical attack, you set up a Substitute, then King Shield, and your opponent is not going to be able to break through your Substitute because their attack is going to be so pathetically low, and your defenses are already skyrocketed into like over 430 with max investment and max IVs. So this here is incredible, and it's a set that I would recommend using. And with this last set here, we're going to be turning Aegislash into quite the fearsome mixed attacker. The nature we're going to be giving it is a quiet nature, and we're hoping to have 0 IVs in its speed, making it as slow as possible. The ability that we're going to be using is Stance Change once again, because it's the only ability it has. The item for choice is going to be Leftovers, and as for the EV spread, 252 are going into HP, 128 into attack, and 128 into special attack, giving you some really decent mixed offenses. Well, actually, more than decent, really awesome. As for the move set, once again, we are going with King's Shield, for it is the best way to keep Aegislash alive and to switch it back into its shield form and protect it from attacks. And like I said before, if your opponent goes before you attack, you will always be in King's Shield and take less damage, essentially. As for the rest of the moves, we have Shadow Ball being a very solid ghost-type move, and it hits on the special side, and with Aegislash's base 150 special attack, it's not something to laugh at. Like, before you even know what the hell's going on, you're going to get absolutely obliterated. And the next move for choice is Flash Cannon, for it is another good way to hit fairy types, and it's also really good stab if I hadn't have said that already, which I probably didn't. um, and the last move is Sacred Sword, and this gives you really awesome coverage, not just on the physical and special side, but on the type coverage side too, because of the fact that, say if you were up against a really tanky special wall by the means of like Chansey or Blissey, then you can easily Sacred Sword them, even though they're thinking that you're going to be an all-out special set. But I haven't ran into an Aegislash yet that has not carried Sacred Sword, because it's just that much of a valuable move. Now, some moves to consider. I have two here. You can use Shadow Claw over Shadow Ball if you want for physical stab. And the next move is Iron Head, which is basically physical stab over Flash Cannon. But I suggest having at least one special move in there. Otherwise, having a quiet nature kind of defeats the purpose if all your moves are going to be physical. So that's all I have to say for this set, and Aegislash in general for set ideas. However, I do have a little something I want to say about Aegislash, so please stay tuned. So I'd just like to say that this is in no way, shape, or form meant to put down or take shots at Aegislash. I just want to throw out there right off the bat that Aegislash is one of my favorite Pokemon. Statistically, with type, and with the amount of move sets that it can use. But I just want to say to all those that it is not overpowered, it is not invincible, and it does not need to go into something like Ubers because it is very easy to counter Aegislash. For one of the side effects of King's Shield is it does not protect it from status moves. So that includes the likes of Taunt. So you can taunt Aegislash, and it has no choice but to attack. And if you have enough bulk to survive one of its attacks, you can take it out in one shot, basically, with its pitiful defenses in Blade form, which I will add is on the left and Shield form is on the right. Now, another way to counter Aegislash would be to trick it a choice item. So you want to set up King's Shield on me? Well, that's just fine. You're going to be tricked into using King's Shield and burning yourself out, locking you into that one move and giving me the advantage. Um, and yeah, I mean, again, by no means does this make Aegislash a bad Pokemon, but it's very predictable, especially since pretty much all the Aegislash I've seen carry King's Shield, and it's the only reliable way for it to be protected from damaging moves and to switch back into its shield form. If it doesn't have the ability to do that, then you pretty much screwed Aegislash over with either taunting it or trick choicing an item. So that's pretty much all I gotta say about Aegislash and about this video. I also want to apologize for uploading extremely late. I was up until about almost 8 o'clock this morning trying to breed Flawless Protean Froakie with Timid Nature. I come so close each and every time, but I end up missing either its defense or speed or something like that. Like, it's a real piss off. um, Now, I'll try to make another upload tonight. If not, then there will be another upload coming at you tomorrow. But that's all I gotta say. So, as always, take care, see you next upload, and this is Crasher Chase signing off.